Alright, so before I start this review, I want to disclose all this information, okay? The Yakuza series has been a game series since 2005, and it's about the Yakuza. It's about the Japanese mafia in Japan and whatnot, all of the clans and everything. Now, this is a franchise that started in the PS2 era back in 2005, and it's still going to this day. Mainly, the newest one that released was Yakuza 0, the prequel of the entire series. Now, this is the review on Yakuza 0. I have no prior knowledge on anything of the Yakuza game series, alright? So I'm just going to get right into it about Yakuza 0. Because like I said, I know nothing about it except Yakuza 0. I just finished the main story, and I did a couple sub-stories, and I did a couple mini-games. Mainly the ones that you have to do in the plot line. But anyway, what I can say about Yakuza 0 is doing the main story and a tiny bit of extras. I was at 12% completion, and I ran through it in 23 and a half hours. Okay, that's how much game you will get if you purchase Yakuza 0, and I honestly strongly recommend purchasing at least Yakuza 0. It is a fantastic and strong and long story. Like I said, I played mainly just the main story, 23 and a half hours, and that's only 12% of the game. And that was on the easiest difficulty. I'll just say that, okay? Because my initiative when it comes to games is I play the easiest, I play through all of it for the story. If I like it enough, I will replay it on the hardest difficulty. Well, I didn't have the option to play on Legend anyway because it was locked off until you play it at least one time through. So anyway, Yakuza 0, on the easiest difficulty, 23 and a half hours, 12% completion. It is a fantastic and long, engaging story. It is actually a pretty fun beat 'em up. It has a lot of personal quirkiness to it. If you go in expecting something so serious like Casino, the film, you will be very, not even disappointed, but you'll be very lacking of the Yakuza game series. It's a very serious storyline, yes, but there are so many quirks within the chapters, within the story, and it's just like every single time you expect something to happen, not just does the most unpredictable thing happen, but the craziest thing will happen as well, okay? The first 2 to 4 missions, I will admit, they are a slog. It's basically preludes of the main story, and yes, you have to slog through them, but I can assure you that they build to a whole of a storyline. It is all essential. There is absolutely no filler in it. The only filler I would consider are the sub-stories, and they're optional. The mini-games, you've got karaoke, sub-stories such as helping random people in the world. You can go into arcades and whatnot. It's mind-blowing how many things. This game is so diverse in the story, in the gameplay, in mini-games, sub-stories, okay? The graphics are amazing. Unfortunately, they're not 10 out of 10. I would say they're 9 to 9.5 out of 10. Mainly, the greatest thing about them are the story-detailed cutscenes. When it's full screen and it shows close-ups of animations, every model looks perfect. Everything about the graphics in story cutscenes, flawless. Now, the gameplay cutscenes are still good. Granted, they're definitely not as detailed, but they are still good graphics while you're playing. My biggest gripe about the graphics are the environmental details. They're not poor, but they're very average. They're like PS3 environmental details. They don't have much polish to them. Honestly, I'm okay with that because you can tell that they put their hearts and souls not only into just the storyline, but also the character models. And yes, every single character in this game looks amazing. Seriously, it grips you from the very second. From the very second of the beginning of the storyline when you're in the empty lot all the way to the conclusion is amazing. You will never have a single minute of stalling or lagging. The biggest gripe that I have, though, for Yakuza 0 is the storytelling in the narrative. I would be completely 100% okay if they did just the gameplay and every story cutscene were the full cutscene kind of, graphics and in-story cutscenes. Unfortunately, they have 4 types of cutscenes. They have the standing around talking, which is okay. They have the in-story cutscenes, which are flawlessly detailed. And then they have less than okay and stellar ones like standstills, which, there's still some artistic value to these cutscenes, but they're just, they feel unnecessary to me in this game. And also, I hate the cutscenes in this game where they're literally just standing there and talking to each other, but nobody's talking. You literally just have to read it and press X. That's literally PS2 era. Stop that. Please, Sega, don't ever do that. Don't do that anymore. That's awful. And this is the newest game in the series. We're talking 2 years old, and you're still doing those kind of cutscenes. Why? But, yeah. There was one part in the 23-hour time that it took me to play through the story where I was slightly disappointed because I did kind of call something that would happen. It was right near the end. I did call it happening, and it happened. Any other time, though, I'd say 95 to 97% of the time, I was trying to predict every single move everybody would make in the game, and the story is so unpredictable. It's so crazy, chaotic, and unpredictable, and it's beautiful. It is a beautiful story. It is, hands down, one of my all-time new favorite prequel stories. It's literally top tier up there with the likes of the TV prequel series Better Call Saul. Okay, Yakuza 0, I'm glad it's a game and not a film. It needed the 23.5-hour story time. It needed it. It was very unique. It was very detailed. You literally know every single major player's motivations in the entire storyline. Now, I can't wait to play Yakuza Kiwami 1 and 2, the remasters of the first 2. And then next month, it's Yakuza 3, 4, 5 remastered releasing. And I cannot wait to play through this game series. I don't know why it's taken me 10 to 15 years to go through this series, but it did, and I feel bad for myself. I have lost out on a lot of time with this storyline that kept getting released and continuing on to the story, and it's a shame that I'm just now getting into it. But being a new player to the Yakuza storyline, I can honestly say Yakuza 0 is a fantastic time to get into the story. Get involved in it, please. It is worth every single bit of your finances. It's not a perfect game. It has its faults, and I did explain them. But nevertheless, Yakuza 0 is still top tier gaming, okay? So some of the cutscenes are just awful, in my opinion, for narration-wise. And also the gameplay, it's really fun, don't get me wrong. Every time you're playing, actually physically playing the game, it's fun as hell. The problem is, in a 23-hour time, the gameplay isn't really all that varied. You just level up and acquire new combos and abilities, and it's literally just a beat 'em up for 23 hours. That's all that it is. But otherwise, only those two main gripes aside, you have a fantastic game. And unfortunately, there is no English dub, but that's okay. It keeps you invested in the story. It keeps you away from other electronics so that you're able to experience the story. Not just have the cutscene meandering while you're on your phone. If you don't know Japanese, you're not going to be able to keep up with this game. It is Japanese dub and it's English subtitles. No option. No other option but that. Yakuza 0 is a very strong 8 out of 10. It is a fantastic game through and through, and I highly recommend it to anybody because there is a lot of variation, not in the gameplay, like the fighting, but the mini games. There is so much variance in this game, and I highly recommend it. 8 out of 10, Yakuza 0. Thank you.